Hello and welcome. This is Manifest More Abundance Now. And my name is Kitty Coy. I'm going to share with you today all of the tips and tricks of how you can rewire your brain to receive more money and where it gets challenging to manifest. Some of the things that get us stuck in manifestation, like you can't manifest freedom and things like that. And we're going to go through the steps of how to actually manifest more money in this workshop today. So, a little bit about me is I'm a neuroscientist. I graduated with a degree in neuroscience, and then a master's degree in integrative physiology and a bachelor's degree in psychology from CU Boulder. I worked for 10 years as a behavioral neurophysiologist, meaning I studied how the structure of your brain affects your behavior and how your behavior actually changes and adapts the structure of your brain. After 10 years in research in neuroscience, I took what felt like a left-hand turn, but it all kind of made sense a little bit later. I got into coaching. Specifically, I am a magnetic mind coach, which we are going to go through the magnetic mind process today. It is simply getting crystal clear on your heart's deepest desire, releasing any resistance to having it, which could look like fear, self-doubt, procrastination, unworthiness, and then taking action steps on your goal, because those three things together make you absolutely magnetic for whatever it is you desire. So we'll talk about and go through those steps today. And I'll also teach you some of the hangups that where if you've tried to do that in the past, where you might have gotten stuck. Because I think it's kind of nice to know if there are roadblocks, it's nice to know where they might be so you can recognize them and shift when you get there. And I am certified in meditation, mindset, NLP, all of these amazing things. I'm certified in superconscious recoding, which is a way that we were going to go through a superconscious recoding process today, which is simply a way to say we are going to rewire our brains around money using this really cool process. And I personally am a manifesting machine. That's why I love sharing all of this. And in 2018, in April 2018, I went to the Denver Home Expo. I had just bought a house and was checking it out. And it was a beautiful April day. My husband and I were strolling the aisles. And I don't know if you've ever been to the Denver Home Expo or any home expo. They're huge. There's like hundreds, if not thousands of vendors, and there was 20 participants that walked in the door every day that weekend. And there's one particular booth that caught my eye, and they were giving away $500 Home Depot gift certificates. And I had just bought a house, so I was like, I would love to get a Home Depot gift certificate. And I filled out the form, and it got to the bottom and it said, check this box if you want to be entered for the grand prize, which is an all-inclusive paid vacation trip for two to Mexico for a week. I checked the box, but I was like, oh, going for that Home Depot gift certificate. I submitted the form, walked around, enjoyed the rest of the expo. And 3 days later, my phone rings. Kitty, you won the all-inclusive paid vacation trip to Mexico. It's me. I won. One in 20,000 people, and it was me. And that year, I won 7 free vacations in 2018. And that's when I realized I had figured out the recipe on how to become a manifesting machine. And that's what I'm going to share with you today, too. But surprise, you're already a manifesting machine. And we're going to talk about that today. You are manifesting every single day, probably many, many, many times a day. It's just the question is, are you manifesting consciously and intentionally or unconsciously, which ends up recreating the past and mapping it onto the future again and again. So you just have more of the same. So today I'm gonna teach you the skills on how you can consciously and intentionally manifest your wildest dreams, because sometimes when we're manifesting unconsciously, we start manifesting our worst nightmares. So let's get out of that space. And first, I just want to get all on the same page about what is manifesting. Manifesting is focusing your thoughts on something you want to create, turning your thoughts into things. It's something you want to bring to life, so you visualize it, you daydream it, whatever that process is. And I love this quote from Albert Einstein. I start all of my manifestation talks around this quote. Everything is energy, and that's all there is to it. All you need to do is match the frequency of the reality you want to create, and you cannot help but create it. There can be no other way. This is not philosophy. This is quantum physics. And so, if you've heard some of my other talks, I've talked about the quantum physics of manifestation and other things. We're going to skip over that. If you're curious, I'm happy to share information on some of my other talks where I go deeper into other things. But this is really focused on manifesting more abundance. So we're going to briefly talk about the science of manifesting so you can understand a little bit about how it works. Again, skipping over the quantum physics, just going straight to the neuroscience portion of it. Everything is energy, and that's all there is to it. Albert Einstein said so, and I'm willing to trust him as an expert in quantum physics. And if everything is energy, that means each thought, each belief, each emotion has its own energy to it. And as a frame of reference, you have 80,000 thoughts a day on average, most of which are repeated. It's not 80,000 new thoughts a day, but about 80,000 thoughts a day. You have tens of thousands of beliefs that you hold at any given moment. And there are 128 emotions, and you can cycle through each and every one of them dozens of times every day. And together, each thought has an emotion, each belief has, or sorry, each thought has an energy, each belief has an energy, each emotion has an energy. And that's what actually comprises this field. This photo is credited from HeartMath. It's literally the frequency our frequency that they can measure created by our thoughts and our beliefs and our emotions. The shape of this field is called a torus. It's basically like a donut shape, but one of those cakey donuts where it originally had a hole, but then it grows into the center and there's no longer a hole. But you're standing in the center of this donut. Um, Again, this photo is from HeartMath, and I love that we live in this day and age where yogis have been saying for centuries that we have an aura or an auric field, and now we're in a place where science can actually measure and share this is what our auric field looks like. And again, it is our beliefs and our emotions and our thoughts, but again, our thoughts are small in comparison to our beliefs and our emotions, because again, there's tens of thousands of beliefs you're carrying every single day, if not more. And it's these beliefs and emotions that are really the driver of this energy field. And so like attracts like. And how it works is, let's talk about the example of having a bad day. You wake up on the wrong side of the bed, or you're running late. Then you walk out the door, you spill coffee down your shirt, but it's too late to change. You hit every red light on the way to work, or whatever happens. And you're just attracting more and more things that create you, like perpetuate the situation of having a bad day, because oops, got some more people jumping in. And so what happens is, you have a thought, I'm having a bad day. You have an emotion, I'm having a bad day, and or anger, sadness, anxiety, whatever that is. So your energetic field is going around saying, it doesn't judge good or bad. And it's like, okay, you want to have a bad day? Great. I will attract more of that, because like attracts like. Thankfully, the same thing is true when you're talking about having a good day. You wake up on the right side of the bed, you like feel like you're on top of the world, and good things will happen to you throughout the day, because that's in alignment with your thoughts and your emotions. That's what your energetic field is doing, all that attracting for you. And if like attracts like, then love attracts love. And this chart is from, I call it like the emotion chart, but Dr. David Hawkins, who created it, calls the map of consciousness. This comes from the book Power versus Force. Great book if you haven't read it before. I don't have time to get into how he discovered this, but just notice that each emotion has a frequency associated with it. And there's no such thing as a good or a bad emotion, because if you're in a place where you experience something that's causing grief, grief is a very valid emotion. But notice that higher level emotions, meaning you want to be experiencing them more of your life, like peace or love or joy, have a much higher frequency than lower level emotions such as fear, apathy, grief, guilt, shame. All of these are much lower numbers. And again, on the left-hand side, this is just the hertz, the frequency of the emotion. And these higher level emotion things actually attract better things to you. And so when I was in the honeymoon stage of my relationship with my husband, my life was spectacular. I was in a job that told me there was no promotion ability. And suddenly, in this multiple months that I was just feeling nothing but love everywhere in my life, I got a promotion at that job that told me I'd never get a promotion. People wanted to be my friend. I got gifts. I got unexpected money. Just everything was going my way all the time, because I was holding the emotion of 500, the frequency of 500. And it was just my energetic field was attracting more things that would make me love my life again and again and again. So, and again, there's nothing wrong with a negative, or like these emotions are not negative, like we think of them as positive and negative. I try not to use that language because every emotion has a place and a reason that supports you in your life. But whenever you're in, let's say, a place of guilt or shame or grief or fear, and you're ready to transform that emotion, gratitude is the answer. And I remember the first time I heard that when I was in the darkest depression of my life, people are like, just do a gratitude journal. It just, I, I wanted to slap them, honestly, because I was just like, if I could be happy and write things down, I would do that. And I didn't understand until I started learning about frequency why that was such good advice and so powerful. It just seemed so cliche. But you'll notice that gratitude as an emotion actually isn't listed on the chart, but it's been measured at 900, which is well into enlightenment. Fun fact, the frequency of gratitude is 900. The frequency of abundance is 888. So they're only 12 hertz apart. Those are abundance really is an emotion, but the frequency of abundance is right next to the frequency of gratitude. And so the more time you spend being grateful for anything, but specifically the abundance you do have in your life, like you have an abundance of air, you have an abundance of fresh water, you have an abundance of opportunities to learn things online. Like there's so many places you do have unlimited abundance in your life. When you can focus on those, you're really cultivating these emotions that are increasing your ability to receive more abundance. So the number one myth about manifesting, before we get into the steps and then actually start going through them, including neuroscience, and welcome to everybody who's jumping on. The number one myth around manifesting was propagated by Rhonda Byrne's book, The Secret. And she just left out something. She implied it, but she didn't explicitly state anything about taking action towards what you want. And so when popular media read this, and again, there's nothing wrong with that book. It's great. It was an amazing turning point in manifestation and people understanding the law of attraction. But it was really popular media's interpretation of what she said that created this myth of all you need to do is think positive thoughts and positive things will come into your life. Well, that's a half truth because I just mentioned a minute ago when I was in the honeymoon stage of my relationship, I did attract just a nice life that was in, again, I was in the emotion of love. So I was attracting things that made me love my life even more. But most of us want to manifest something specific in our life. And I'm going to ask you this question a little bit in a little bit, but just to get the gears turning for you, what is that thing that you want to manifest more than anything? And so just start thinking about that. Ask yourself that question as we go through this, and we'll start drilling into, well, what do you actually want? Because oftentimes what we think we want is not what we actually want. And we'll talk about how that's one of the biggest tripping stones in manifestation. So if what you want is something specific, you have to take action on that thing. So like let's say you want a lake house, you could meditate for the 25 years sitting on your couch, thinking positive thoughts, being in this high vibration energy around this lake house. But if you never leave your home, it is highly unlikely someone is going to walk in your front door and hand you the deed to a lake house. You have to be able and willing to take action towards what you want. So if what you want is a lake house, I'll teach you the steps of manifestation, but you might want to go check out lake houses, look on Zillow, make a list of the wants and needs of a home, figure out what lake you want to be on, get a real estate agent. Like there are many action steps we can take towards our dream. And it's taking these action steps that really is the magic part of manifesting. Because when you take one step towards your dream can take up to 1,000 steps towards you. And I'll share with you the story that explains the picture on this slide. This is my clinic. It's my husband and I high-fiving in front of my wellness center. And I'd been dreaming of opening this wellness center for 4 or more years. And I was never taking action because I was scared and I had all these stories about, well, I need at least $30,000 in the bank. Then when I have $30,000, then I can, whatever, and the next steps are. But I kept putting these hurdles in front of me. I'm not even going to start thinking about this wellness center until XYZ and until my coaching business has scaled to this level. And I just kept putting roadblocks in front of me. And I had a coach that noticed that. And she's like, oh, yeah. So what are you going to do? When are you going to open your wellness center? And as a frame of reference, it was when she asked me that question, it was May 5th, 2020. So in Colorado, wellness centers were barely opening back up from being shut down from the pandemic. And and I was like, "Oh my gosh," I gave her 10 minutes of excuses of reasons why I couldn't open a wellness center. And she was like, "That's great. What was your excuse 6 months ago?" Feeling very called out on that, she challenged me to take action on this wellness center. And she's like, "I guarantee there is an action step you can take. Even if it's not opening the wellness center, there's some action step you can take." So I sat with it and I meditated and reflected on it. And I was like, "Oh my gosh, I could help somebody else manage their wellness center." Because at the time I was watching my chiropractor and my massage therapist and all of these wellness practitioners, I was watching them really struggle with the personal protective equipment and the new regulations. So now they're like, not only are they having to run their business, and they're having to heal people that are, much more sick than normal and that need a lot of extra care. And now they're having to deal with all of these extra regulations and all of this stuff on top. And so I was like, I've got great project management skills. I could help these wellness practitioners. I could, pick a massage therapist or a chiropractor, and I could help them implement the personal protective equipment and the regulations and all of that paperwork or whatever it was, so that they could focus on healing their clients. And in exchange for my project management, they could mentor me on how to open a clinic. And I could learn about things like, what the heck is sales tax? What kind of licenses do I need for a brick and mortar? All those fun things. So I got clear that my action step was, I'm going to manage somebody else's clinic. And I was like, well, before I start taking, I guess my first action step was, what is it I actually want to do? So I wrote a short list of what I desired. Is I wanted the clinic that I was going to work at to be within 15 minutes of my house. I wanted it to be within less than 3 to 5 hours a week, so that I could still manage my full-time coaching business that I had. And I wanted that person to be deeply invested in my success. I show up as 110% to everything I do. And so I wanted them to show up with the same like commitment in mentoring me whenever that time came for that. And so I wrote those things down and I was like, well, how do you get a job? I know, I'll write a resume, because how else do you get a job? It's the only action step I could think of. And I started creating this resume detailing all my project management experience and all of these things. And I got about halfway through the resume, and 3 days later, I found myself, or 3 or 5 days later, I found myself in a Polka Dot Powerhouse one-to-one connect, just a coffee date with somebody that I had set up this meeting a long time ago or months ago, and it was a virtual coffee date. And I ended the call with, well, how can I support you? And she asked me, she's like, do you know anybody who wants to manage a wellness center? And so I laughed to myself. I was like, maybe, tell me more. It's 14 minutes from your house. It's less than 5 hours a week. And I have owned this wellness. I bought this location from another wellness center. And eventually, when I move my clinic to Arizona full time, I want somebody, whoever manages this clinic, I want them to create a wellness center in this unit and basically take it over. So there's still a wellness center in the community. I was like, oh, it's me. It's me. I would love to manage your wellness center. She was like, great, you're hired. So why I tell that story and why it's so powerful is, the action step I took had nothing to do with the outcome. No one to this day has ever seen that half written resume all about my project management experience. And yet I was hired anyways. And this is what I want to say is, I think a lot of us get stuck in this analysis paralysis. We think it needs to be the perfect action, the action that's going to take to get us there. But really, any action will do. And that's what's so important when we talk about and we keep going forward. It's just the best action step you can think of right now. Go take that one and you'll get information. Either it'll get you closer, or you'll be like, oh, that was not the action step to take. What is the best action step to take now? And what's so amazing is, I just took one action step towards my dream, and my dream literally fell in my lap. My dream took 1,000 action steps towards me. So anytime you're getting stuck in what is the perfect action, I would invite you to say, well, what are my best choices right now? Because I know, and I'm speaking from experience and all of these things. In my coaching business, I spent years looking for the marketing plan that was going to get me to my first $100,000. And I worked with coaches and strategists, and I took every class I possibly could on marketing and all of these things. And years went by and I still hadn't reached my first $100,000, because guess what? I was too busy focused on finding the right action instead of just doing more of the actions that I knew were working, like webinars or things like that. Instead of just scheduling more sales calls and more webinars, the things that I know work, I spent and focused all of my time on trying to find the thing that would work. So that's one of the biggest things that gets us all hung up in manifesting. So I just wanted to share that. All right. Our number one block on manifestation is that we don't feel worthy enough of deserving our dream. But here's the catch 22 is you have these traumas and limiting beliefs that are preventing you from manifesting what you want. Because again, as a reminder, you're already a manifesting machine. You're manifesting every single day, multiple times a day. And so it's really what you're manifesting is what you subconsciously believe that you deserve, not what you consciously want. And you know what you subconsciously believe you deserve because look around. It's whatever level of success or connection in a relationship or whatever it is in your business, in your personal life, you are manifesting exactly what you believe you deserve. And so it's these traumas and limiting beliefs that keep us stuck manifesting things that we experienced in the past. And how this works is because our subconscious has two jobs: to keep you safe, which, and safe just means surviving. And surviving is anything you've survived in the past is survivable. It's coded in your subconscious as that. Even if it's something you don't want to experience, like toxic shame, failure, bankruptcy, whatever those things are, if you've survived them once, they're now survivable. So the subconscious, in trying to keep us safe, it also wants to prove us right. That was what the thing with the good day and the bad day example. But it wants to keep us safe, which means it will, if until we shift and rewire our brain and shift our belief system, we're just going to keep manifesting again and again and again those same things that are keeping us stuck. That we're going to recreate the past and map it onto the future. But this is the real kicker. I like to call it the silo of scarcity, because the catch 22 is there's limiting beliefs that are holding us back. But if we just focus on fixing the limiting beliefs, we're reinforcing the idea that we're broken, and the only thing that will fix us is getting rid of these beliefs. And when I get rid of these beliefs, then I can have what I want. Unfortunately, that's a problem solving mindset. When I fix my worthiness, then I can have what I want. May work for a while, but it's keeping you in the orientation. Because I don't know if you've ever gone through, and I've experienced something like this very personally. And this is where I had this whole awareness is I was like, okay, when I feel like I deserve my dream, when I feel like I'm enough, then I can have what I want. So I spent years and years and years working on feeling like I was enough. But guess what? I still didn't have my dream. And so it's this problem solving mindset. There's two types of mindsets: a problem solving mindset and a manifesting mindset. And the good news is, I'm going to teach you what a manifesting mindset is and how to get into it in a minute. But as long as you're stuck in problem solving and you could spend the rest of your life chasing your tail and being like, oh, it's that belief. When I fix that limiting belief, then I can have what I want. And then you are going after the problem again and again and again, which is simply reinforcing that you don't have what it takes right now. You're broken. You need to be fixed. There's problems. But what if you could just focus on what you want? Because whatever you focus on expands exponentially for you. So when you're so fixated on, I'm going to fix all of those limiting beliefs, as an example, I'm going to upgrade my nervous system or whatever it is, you're playing whack-a-mole indefinitely, because there will always be another limiting belief that is holding you. And like, you fix your worthiness, and then it'll be deserving, and then it'll be perfectionism, and then it'll be some other belief. And you could play whack-a-mole indefinitely with your limiting beliefs without ever taking action on what you want. So, and again, there's nothing wrong with adjusting or upgrading your belief system. I do that all the time. In fact, I'm teaching a call in 30 minutes after this one to my membership. We're going to do a process that upgrades your limiting beliefs and upgrades your belief system. There's nothing wrong with that. All I'm saying is you need to also take action on what you want. Don't spend 4 years trying, or whatever, 3 years trying to figure out the marketing plan. Do the actions that are working at the same time, that working to scale your business, as the same time you learn new action steps to scale your business. So it's just simply saying is focus on what you want and take action steps in that direction. Because as we take action steps in for our dream, it's another way to say this. I love this analogy is like, if you want to go somewhere and you want to go to your dreams fast in a car, you want to drive there. Do you want to look in the rear view mirror at all of the reasons that you got to where you are now? Or do you want to look in the windshield so you can drive to your dreams? We want to focus on the windshield, where we're going. And so, and honestly, although it helps to get there farther and faster and maybe a little bit easier to release emotional baggage, you don't need to release all of the emotional baggage and limiting beliefs first. I truly believe that if you just take action on your dream, whenever you hit a roadblock that's going to hold you back, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. And this has happened to me time and time again in my life and time again for my clients, that as soon as they're working towards their dreams, when they hit a roadblock that they can't, they're really stuck, something will come along and support them in releasing whatever that is so they can consistently take actions on their goals. So when the student is ready, the teacher appears. So these are the 4 steps on how to start manifesting. I'm going to tell you what they are, and then we're going to spend the next hour going through these steps. So step number 1 is getting crystal clear on your real desire. And your real desire is something you want because you want it. There's no secondary agenda or secondary intentions, hidden agenda behind it. It's something you want because you want it. And this is the number one thing that gets people hung up is they'll say things like, well, I want more money. Well, actually, you don't want more money. You want whatever money is going to get you. Like if money is going to get you freedom, you actually can't manifest freedom. We'll talk about that in a minute. But if money is going to get you travel, what you desire is travel. You don't want money. So the biggest stumbling block in manifestation is we get focused on the vehicle and not the destination. So getting clear on your real desire, visualizing it each and every day for just a couple minutes. I always recommend visualizing while you brush your teeth, because that is a subconscious autopilot memory. Your arm knows how to brush your teeth. You don't need to think about it. So you might as well use that thought time constructively to focus on just daydreaming what you want. And if you find yourself challenged with visualization, please let me know. I know plenty of people that say that they're not able, or like when they started working with me, they said, I can't visualize. And we found a way to support them in visualization. So you don't have to be able to play a movie in your mind to be able to visualize. I'd be happy to talk with you afterwards about that if that's something that you find challenging. But visualizing it daily is simply the most important thing, is getting into all 5 senses and the emotions. And one of the things, what I'm manifesting right now, and actually not even manifesting, it's just happening at this point. But for many months and many years, I've been manifesting this, is I'm going to sail around Ibiza on a sailboat, and I'm leaving in like 5 weeks and a month and 5 days. So 5 weeks from today. And so when I visualize it, and so I set the real desire, I want to go to Ibiza because I want to go to Ibiza. I like living on a sailboat. I like hanging out with my friends. I love being on the Mediterranean. I want it because I want it, not because I'm excited to share photos on social media or it means something. It's just, no, I want it because I want it. When I visualize it, I can literally hear the waves lapping against the side of the boat. I can hear the laughter of my friends as we're joking and talking and having fun. I can feel the rocking of the boat. I can feel the sun beating down on me as I'm on the bimini deck of the sailboat. I can smell the salt water. And usually I just make up tastes. I'm like, I don't know, I can taste wine. Sure, we're celebrating drinking wine. Sounds great. So in some of these things, you can just make it up. It doesn't need to be perfect. But by getting into all of those senses, and then the emotion is contentment, presence, joy, gratitude, excitement, connection. Those are the emotions that I'm feeling. And the reason it's so important to visualize with the emotions and the senses is your subconscious can't tell the difference between reality, your imagination, and the media that you consume, which is a random side note, but it's really important to be conscious of the media that you consume, because I used to think that subliminal messaging, old school in the 50s, where they'd be playing a movie and then they would flash popcorn on the screen, but it went by so fast you couldn't perceive it. But then all of a sudden you're like, I wish I had some popcorn. That's subliminal messaging. And I used to think that that went away. I could have sworn I heard that they made that illegal in the 1950s, or maybe it was the 60s that happened. It's not illegal. It's happening every day with all of the advertising, everything around us. All of the podcasts you listen to, the shows you watch, the movies you watch are conditioning your brain and your nervous system. And you know this because if you watch a scary movie and something happens, your body jumps and reacts as if that thing is happening to you because it can't tell that that media, that scary movie isn't real. And I've written blogs and I've shared a lot about. I have been very vigilant in cutting out media themes in my life. Like I don't watch Bob's Burgers anymore because it's all about financial struggle and hardship, even though it's an adorable show. I don't watch shows like Nailed It and Chopped where they're cooking against a clock because that promotes my feeling that I don't have enough time. And all of these things, as I've been really conscious about the media and removing it from my life, I actually have a better life experience that's more in alignment with what I want to desire. That's a little side note on media, but going back to your subconscious can't tell the difference between media, your imagination, and reality. So we use that fact. And every time you imagine what you want, you're tricking your subconscious into thinking you already have it. So the more you visualize it, and remember, safe is your subconscious works to recreate the past of things that are safe, meaning they've been survived. So the more you visualize it in your mind, the more your subconscious flags that, even though it's a visualization, as safe and survived, which is exactly how I got my wellness center. I had visualized it every single day for 4 years with devotion. So my subconscious was like, you've already owned a clinic. You've owned a clinic for 4 years. Of course you can have it. So, anyways, that's just what's so important about the visualization. And visualization itself, again and again, supports you in releasing resistance. But you could, there's emotion code, Psyche, EFT. There's all these amazing techniques that you can do to release resistance. The one that we're going to go through together today is called superconscious recoding. I mentioned that in the beginning. It's actually specifically, it's an adapted NLP process included with the superconscious recoding. But we're going to do that to release your resistance on receiving more abundance. And releasing resistance is just a fancy way to say getting your beliefs and emotions in alignment with your desires. What is it you actually want? Because most of us go through lives, especially around money. I want abundance, but I'm practiced living paycheck to paycheck. Or, every time I pay off my credit card, something happens, I get in more debt. Like our conscious desires are not in alignment with our beliefs and our emotions and our past experiences. But if you're trying to fish with a fishing pole broken in half, you're not going to go very far. When we can simply get our beliefs and emotions in alignment with our conscious desires, now we have snapped our fishing pole into one piece. So when you cast out, you can reel back in your desires. That just like what I did with the Wellness Center. So the fourth action step, and then I'm going to pause for a second so you can take a screenshot or scribble these down, is take action. And remember, any action step will do. So give you just a minute to write down all those steps. And you're going to get practice in all of these because we're going to start going through each and every one of these steps right now. But before we get started, I want to lay a little bit of groundwork on the best manifestation power statement. So, affirmations are great. Affirmations are traditionally I am statements. And there's a lot of different ways I utilize affirmations with my clients and myself. There's a lot of little ways that affirmations work. And there is still some resistance to affirmations, which is why you'll see what am going to share in the manifestation power statement in a minute. Because if you say, I am abundant, or I am a millionaire, there's a part of your mind, a little belief that's going to go, BS. No, you're not. You're not a millionaire. You have $1 million in debt or whatever that is. So anytime you're working with an affirmation that starts with I am, you're going to be unconsciously resisting that if you don't believe it. So I like to choose, and I call them manifestation power statements. I like to say I choose because I choose, there's no rebuttal to that. I choose to be a millionaire. I choose to receive more abundance. Okay. And this is a little bit deeper than I normally go, but you can only manifest from a neutral place. And I need abundance because I need to pay my rent this month or my mortgage or whatever. I need abundance has a negative charge on abundance. And I want abundance because when I have abundance, then I can travel and then I'll be free. That's a positive charge on abundance. But I want and I need and I want, those are a charge, but you can only manifest from neutral. And this I choose is a neutral way to say what you want. I choose to receive more abundance. So I encourage you to write that statement down. We're going to be using it throughout the rest of this presentation. I choose to receive more abundance, or maybe I choose to manifest. I choose to attract more abundance, and or I choose to receive more money. It doesn't really matter the back half of what you want to do, as long as it starts with I choose. So step number one of becoming a manifesting machine is getting into your real desire. So I want to ask you, this is what I call the $1,000,000 question. If you won $1,000,000 today, what would you do with it? But there's some caveats. You can't pay off any debt. You can't give it to anyone else. And you can't invest it in a retirement account or in a savings account or something like that. If you won $1,000,000 today, what would you do with it? So I'll give you a minute to think about it. And I would encourage you to put it in the chat because I would love to support you in giving you some laser coaching around what is a real desire. Awesome. I love it. Planning bucket list trips. Amazing. Anybody else feel like sharing when they win $1,000,000, what they will do with it? I know for me, I would also plan a couple of my bucket list trips. I would invest in a marketing team in my business. That's a type of investment you can do because I would hire a service. By invest in, I mean you can't just put money from one account into another account or into a savings or retirement account. I would invest it in getting some better tools and support to really level up my business. Get a new, I love this. Thank you guys for sharing. Get a new car. Let me expand the chat even more. So get a new car, pack it up, travel all 50 states while drinking beer, thrifting, and playing games in baseball parks. I love it. And I love the specificity in that. That is so amazing. And those are clearly things you want to do because you want to do them. So I love it. Give to charities that you support and travel more. And think about if you can't give it away to charities, because and that's where it's like, oh, if I had $1,000,000, I would totally invest it in organizations that are aligned with my values. But for this thought exercise, what if you couldn't give it to charity? Then what would you do with that money? Aside from travel more, like in addition. Okay, travel through Europe, new wardrobe, purchase a chateau, and hire a marketing team. Also, VIP world experiences at concerts all over the world. I absolutely love that. Starting with Red Rocks. Red Rocks is a great place to be. Launching a funeral pre-planning program for expats all over the world. And traveling to New Zealand, investing in alternative healthcare practitioners to support your health. I love all of those things. And so, thank you for answering the $1,000,000 question because we're going to dig into that a little bit more. So, why do you want that? Like, pick one of the things, or if you have, we have time. So, maybe you want to do multiple, but why do you want that thing? Another way of asking that question is like, what would it mean to you to have that thing, or why is it important to you? I love it. Adventure, fun, meeting people all over the world, experiences. Yeah, amazing. And then we're going to drill in a little bit deeper and repeat that two more times. So, adventure and meeting new people all over the world. Why is that important to you? When you're talking about going to New Zealand, that's important to you. Terry, because the scenery from The Lord and the Rings was inspiring and you want to see it firsthand. I love it. Um, and when we're talking about packing up the car and going to baseball games and drinking beer and thrifting, it was because you and your husband love to do those things. So just keep digging in. But why do you love to do those things? What is it about those things that lights you up? What is it about the Lord of the Rings that was inspiring to you? Or what is it about traveling in general that's inspiring to you? Why is it important to you to meet people all over the world? Like, what does that mean to you? Learning about other cultures, learning languages, it's intriguing. Feeding your soul. Yes, I love all those things. And notice, and Minnie, I love your example. It's like you can feed your soul now without abundance. Like you can find ways to feed your soul. And that's one of the secrets of manifesting is you can learn, and Rhonda, you can learn about other cultures. You can learn other languages. You can meet people from other countries right in your backyard any given day. And so the thrill of the find or the discovery that lights you up, amazing. And so this is one of the most important things around manifesting is just getting clear in what you actually want because we get hung up in the, well, I want to travel, and what travel means to me is flying internationally, but I don't have the money to travel internationally right now, so I can't have what I want. And when I have the money, then I can get what I want. Remember, that's a problem-solving mindset that keeps you from being able to manifest the people, places, and resources that are going to get you to what you want. So, why we go through this exercise is to figure out what it really means to you. Like, what is the essence of what that is? And when I think about, like, well, why do I want to go to Ibiza? I love adventure. I love trying new food. I love connecting with people. And when you're on a sailboat, hey, guess what? I mean, aside from like some swimming on beach time, there's not much else to do besides just enjoy yourself, be present, and connect with other people. And when I look at what I want to manifest, every single thing I want to manifest comes down to connection. I want a deeper connection with me. I want a deeper connection to my purpose. I want a deeper connection to my clients, my friends, my family. I want a deeper connection to nature. And so, because I know that my real desire is connection, I find ways to create that every single day. And then every time I'm in the emotion and the energy of connection, I am transmitting that energy and I'm attracting more things that bring me connection. I'm in the energy and the emotion of what I want to manifest, which is connection that looks like adventure and whatever. But what I really desire is connection with different cultures, connection with different people, all these things. So I'm manifesting the people, resources, and opportunities that are going to get me there. So I love it. You just had an epiphany. Travel equals new cultures, people, languages. I want to be able to connect with people I otherwise couldn't. To learn, speak in their language equals connection. Yeah, that's what was so amazing to me is it took me, I mean, years of manifesting to realize what I want. The number one thing I want is connection. It's just connection to different things because that is what fills me up. So, anyways, this is one of the most important steps to creating what you want. And we really want to get to the why that makes me cry because when I think about it, it's like when I think about connecting with those people, when I think about connecting to cultures via food, when I think about connecting to nature, all of these things, the more we drill into this, and we get to the core, like our heart's deepest desire. We try and manifest from our head, but it is our heart that does the manifestation for us. So the more we get into the why that makes us cry, the easier it is. And the reason I call the exercise we just went through the $1 million question, because the answer that you drilled down to, the connection, the experiences, all of these things, having friends, the thrill of like, and that the rush of all these things, that's what you actually want. That's what you want to manifest more than anything in the world is you want that thing you just drilled down into. Not necessarily like, yes, travel is one way that you could get to connection and adventure, but in reality, you can get to that every single day. And again, the more you experience a little bit of what you want to have, the easier it is to get it because you've already survived connection. It's now coded as safe, and the more when I was in a place where when I was growing my business and I didn't have a place, I wasn't in a financial position to travel internationally. You know what we did? We traveled in our own backyard. I live in the beautiful state of Colorado. So I started traveling all around Colorado and taking long weekends and going to anywhere within an 8-hour drive. And we started experiencing all these new places because that is travel. I made a or like I created a situation where I could have a little bit of what I wanted. Yes, what I prefer is international travel, but what I like about international travel is eating at places I've never eaten before, trying new types of foods, going and experiencing new things I've ever never experienced before. And we did that. We spent a couple summers just exploring Colorado, and I was living a travel and adventure lifestyle. And during that time, I was able to flip the script and I manifested more and more and more money to now I can go on a big international trip each and every year. So that's the $1 million question. And before we get any deeper into this, I want to tell you that there are 7 things that you can't manifest, and that's why I encourage you to put everything in the chat. And amazingly, I didn't actually see these, but I just want you to make a note. I'm going to go through all 7 things and then explain why you can't manifest them. You can't manifest abundance from scarcity, which means you can't manifest comfort, control, freedom, independence, safety, stability, or security. Because if you felt like you had these things, you wouldn't want them. People who feel safe don't want to manifest safety. People who feel comfortable in life don't want to manifest more comfort. If you knew that, and honestly, you are free already. You may not have the financial freedom that you desire, but you have the freedom to choose what you eat every day. You have the freedom to choose who you interact with every day. You have the freedom to choose what kind of job, your vocation, or business you have. You have the freedom of where you want to travel, freedom of what you want to drink, and all these, like, you have so many freedoms in life. And so if you knew that you were already free, you wouldn't want freedom. So just this simple act of saying, I want more security is acknowledging you don't feel secure right now. And you can't manifest a force of abundance from a seed of scarcity. So I would encourage you, um, so when someone says they want financial freedom or independence, that is the thing that's blocking them from manifesting because they don't feel financially free or independent right now. And so how you get around that or work through it is like when you have independence, what's that going to do for you? Like how would your life change when you have financial freedom? And what would having that do for you, and what would having that do for you? So we actually just go through the same, what's the why, like why do you want that, what does that mean to you, why is that important to you, till you get to something that is actually what they desire. Because again, when people say they want financial freedom, the people that are saying that are blocking themselves from receiving and creating the financial freedom because they're saying I'm not free right now. And even if you only have, yeah, exactly. It's like focus on what you want, not what you don't want. And exactly. And so even so, and let's be real, you do have financial freedom right now. You might not be able to buy a $10,000 trip or whatever, but financial freedom means you can choose how you spend your money. Even if you only have $5 to your name, you have the financial freedom to choose how you invest that $5 or not. You are already financially free, even if you only have $1 to your name. You are financially free because freedom is just meaning you get to choose what you want. And so by just the idea that I want financial freedom or I want independence or I want security or I want to live a comfortable lifestyle, those are the things that are blocking you from manifesting that exact thing that you want. So just keep drilling in. Why do I want that? Why do I want security? What is security going to do? Oh, it means that, if I have security, then I can pay for my kids' college or whatever. Then I can travel, then I can XYZ. Well, you want the travel. You want to invest in the legacy of your children. You don't want the financial freedom or the security or the comfort or control. And these are all illusions. You could spend the rest of your life trying to manifest these 7 things and never getting anywhere, never getting what you want because you cannot manifest them. If you are, the only way you can receive them is if you knew you already had them. So, this is one of the like catch 22 tricks around manifestation that makes it a little challenging. So, you can't, what you want is freedom and security, but the fact that, and I just said this, but it's really important to really hammer this home is the fact that what you want is freedom and security or independence is the thing that blocks you from being able to receive it. So focus on creating, and where do you have, even if you only have $100, where do you have financial freedom? Well, you have the freedom to choose what you're investing on. You have the freedom, and where do you have freedom in other areas of your life? Because when I was working on manifesting more abundance, I literally did a practice every single day. I was like, I have an abundance of air. And then I felt gratitude for the fact that I've never worried about how much air I have. And that's the number one thing I need to live. but I've never worked. I'm like, I have truly abundant, infinite abundance of air and fresh water and access to food and resources and ability to go into my community and places to learn online. Like when I focused on where I already had abundance, even if I wasn't focusing on financial abundance, I was getting into the energy and the emotion of what it feels like to be abundant. And when you feel abundant, you attract abundance of all types. So the financial abundance has to come. Okay. So step number 2, we're going to go through just a really quick visualization. Just close your eyes and take a deep breath and fast forward to that future moment in time where you're traveling the world. You're in New Zealand. You have that house you want. You have your wardrobe. You have your chateau, whatever it is you said you want. Just fast forward to the future moment in time where you're there. You're living that choice already. It's your everyday normal. And take a minute to just do a visual inventory, scanning, noticing everything as best as you can. Some of us are practicing visualization, some of us aren't, and that's all good. As best as you can. What do you see? Like, where are you? Who are you with? What are you doing? What do you hear? Taste, smell, physical sensations, just scanning, making this thing that you want inevitable to you. And most importantly, focus on the emotion. How will you feel when you're living this experience? And take a deep breath. And whenever you're ready, you can open your eyes. And that's as simple as it is for visualization. Simple and quick and easy. Just put yourself in the place that like you already have it. And it's like just daydreaming. That's all it is. So step number 2 is just whatever it is you want, just keep visualizing that a little bit. We literally did about 90 seconds. You can do that every single day. And then step number 3 is we're actually going to release resistance. So we're going to use the NLP process, perceptual shift, mixed with the superconscious recode process to rewire your brain around money. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about how neuroscience is the answer to rewire your brain for more happiness and success instantaneously. And you will actually experience a shift in the next, the exercise is anywhere from like 10 to 15 minutes. So I already said this, the NLP process, we're going to instantly improve your relationship with money. And by that, I mean, we're going to permanently upgrade your belief system. We're going to let go of any old beliefs and thoughts and emotions you have around money that are no longer serving you. And as a result, this will change how you think and feel about money. And it's basically saying we're going to rinse away anything that's no longer serving you. And it's like if you have a house that's like dirty, or I love this example, a garden that's filled with weeds, all we need to do is pull the weeds and plant the seeds, which is what we're going to do in this process. And then you have this beautiful garden. And then how you feel about that part of your yard and how you think about it is different when it's filled with flowers instead of with weeds. So we're going to focus on the statement, I choose to attract more abundance, or I choose to receive more abundance. It doesn't really matter that much. Yeah, all good. If you have to jump, now is a perfect time. I choose to attract more abundance. And we're going to go through this super conscious recode. When I'm talking to you, it'll be obvious. When I'm talking to your super conscious, which is actually your energetic field, I will say super conscious at the beginning of the sentence. I'm going to give you instructions on what you can think about and do. And then we're going to go through a super conscious recode, which sounds like gibberish. It's English, but the words don't make sense in a sentence. And then there's periods of silence. And then the only thing I need for you is to say either out loud or in your head, I give Kitty permission to connect to my superconscious. And as soon as you do that, you can close your eyes. All right. I choose to attract more abundance. You could also say, I choose to have a better relationship with money. And just take a deep breath and focus your attention and your awareness on your heartbeat. Can you feel your heartbeat in your chest? Taking deep breaths in through your nose and out through your mouth. Seeing if you can focus on the energy in your heart space. What does it feel inside your chest? What does your heart feel like? And fast forward to a time where you have infinite abundance. What does it feel like to have infinite abundance? You're traveling, you have all of the homes that you desire, all the experiences you desire. You've launched that business you were dreaming of. Just notice when you have infinite abundance, how does it feel? What are the emotions that's coming up? This is basically just recreating the visualization we just did a moment ago. So just noticing, where are you? Who are you with? What are you doing when you have infinite abundance and you're living a life that you love? And when you're in this place, what are all the ways that you're experiencing abundance? Do you have an abundance of connection, an abundance of love, an abundance of money? Just notice all of the ways that you're experiencing abundance. And when you're thinking about this abundant place, take a deep breath and come back to now, to the current version of you, the one sitting in your seat at this moment, and notice all the places in your life where you don't feel like you have abundance. All we're doing is creating creative tension. And that's basically saying, like, we can't clean behind you can't clean something if you can't visualize where the dust is. So we're just kicking up the dust for a few minutes, noticing all the places in your life where you don't have abundance. Noticing any reservation you have about unlimited abundance. Like, did you have any limiting beliefs or anything that came up around that? Any inner conflict of, well, I want to have abundance, but rich people are evil. So I don't want to be evil. So just notice, are there any inner conflicts or judgments? Any limiting beliefs around money that have come up? And just witness these, allow them to be there. From where you are right now in your current version of you, what are the stories that you tell yourself about people who have just infinite or unlimited abundance? And this is all just resistance. So everything, oh, and let's just say this one question is, what does your inner critic say about why you don't have abundance? Letting emotions, limiting beliefs, anything bubble to the surface for just 10 more seconds. What does your inner critic say about why you don't have unlimited abundance? It's hard. I don't know how. And we're going to rate the intensity of the difference between what it feels like to have infinite abundance and what it feels like now. And if you're like, oh my gosh, I can't even see where I am to where I want to be, I can't see the path there. There's so many reasons and stories and judgments and beliefs and excuses. I have no idea how I could ever get to unlimited abundance. That would be a 10 out of 10 in resistance. And if you're like, oh, I'm actually pretty abundant right now, well, like I could get to a little bit better, just a little couple tweaks, but I am pretty abundant. I do already have infinite abundance. That would be a 1 on resistance. So just notice it's the first number that jumps in your head intuitively on a scale of 1 to 10. What is the number of resistance from where you are to where you want to be in abundance? And whenever you have that number, open your eyes and pop it in the chat. Awesome. We got a 3. And again, 3, 1, 4, 5, 5. Love it. 7. And again, this is just whatever number pops to you intuitively. Whenever you're ready, close your eyes again. And I'm going to go through this process. And I'm going to take you through the 3-chair process. So imagine yourself sitting down in chair number 1. And chair number 1 is you. Chair number 2 is money. And whatever money is represented to you, maybe it's a stack of $100 bills, maybe it's a big bag of money with a money sign on it. Just what is money represented to you? That's what's in chair number 2. You're in chair number one, and the super conscious, the omnipotent, the divine, all knowing is sitting in chair number three. So just imagine yourself being in chair number one, looking at money in chair number two. Notice, what is it like to be sitting across from money? Notice the attitude and the energy that you have around money. From where you are right now in your life, when you look at money, how do you feel? What beliefs are coming up as you're sitting across from money? Notice how you talk to money. What kind of a relationship do you have with money right now? And notice, what is your desired outcome? What do you want with money? What's the relationship you want to have with money? And just take a minute to really notice and witness all of the emotions, all of the feelings, everything that's coming up around money from your perspective. Just notice and witness it all, but we're going to leave all of that in the chair, in chair number one, and in your physical body. And we're going to just take a moment, our energy, our essence, our soul, our spirit, whatever you think of. Just imagine that floating above your body, looking down at you at chair number one, releasing all of the beliefs, the emotions, the energy, the attitude, the relationship you have with money. Again, that all stays in chair number two. And your spirit, your essence, your energy is floating up above your head, and it floats a little bit higher till it's sitting on the roof of the building you're in. And then it floats a little bit higher so it can see your whole house. Floats a little bit higher so it can see your whole city. And just take a deep breath and let your soul, your essence, your spirit, your energy, whatever it is that you're visualizing, take a couple deep breaths and just float down. You've released everything. You're coming down to the blank slate. You're coming down into getting closer and closer. Now you're going from seeing your whole city to now you see your whole house. Now you're sitting on the roof of the building that you're in. And then you come back down into chair number two. And now you have become money. You're seeing with money's eyes, you're hearing with money's ears, you're feeling through money's heart. And as you're embodying money, just notice, what kind of energy are you receiving, or attitude, or what does it feel like to be sitting as money looking at you in chair number one? From money's point of view, how does money feel about you in chair number one? What does money believe about you? What kind of a relationship does money want to have with you? And what's the outcome that money wants? What is the outcome that money wants for you? And just notice all of these things, witness the energy, the attitude, the belief. What kind of attitude does money have towards you? As money, what kind of attitude are you receiving from you in chair number one? Just notice and witness it all. Take a deep breath, and we're going to release all of that, the emotions, the attitude, the energy, the belief, all of that. We're just going to leave in chair number two. We're going to leave money sitting in chair number two, and our essence, our spirit, our soul, our energy is going to float up, releasing all of that, clearing the slate, floating up above chair number 2 to the roof of the building you're in, floating up even higher so you can see the whole building or home that you're in, floating up even higher so you can see the whole city that you're in. And take a deep breath, releasing everything, coming back down as a blank slate into chair number 3. As we float down, we can see our whole city, and we can see the whole building. We are sitting on top of the roof. We've released all the energy as a blank slate. We land in chair number 3. And chair number 3 is the omnipotent, the divine, the superconscious that sees and knows everything. You merge with the divine or the superconscious or angels or whatever you believe, but you merge with this omnipotent feeling. And you have access to all of the information in the universe, past, present, and future. And as you are the divine, sitting in chair number 3, notice what is the attitude and energy like between you and chair number 1 and money and chair number 2. Just notice what the energy is like between them. What does it feel like to be witnessing their relationship? What is the desired outcome that you and chair number 1 wants for money, and money and chair number 2 wants for you and chair number 1? Just witnessing the emotions, the beliefs, everything that's happening between them. What needs to happen for both of these parties in chair number 1 and chair number 2 to increase their satisfaction? Like, what would allow them to have a better relationship? And send all of these emotions, these feelings, all this awareness to each represented party in their respective chair, you in chair number 1 and money in chair number 2. And just sit in the awareness of the divine, the omnipotent, witnessing and holding the visualization of you in chair number 1 and money in chair number 2 having an excellent relationship. What could that relationship look like? As I go through the superconscious recode, again, periods of gibberish and silence. Superconscious, are you there? Do all aspects and parts of desire treatment and are on the treatment team? Superconscious, do you see the resistance in alignment with desire? I deserve, I commit, I trust, I am, I will, I can, I know how. Any lack of alignment with desire, please tag and treat and do a massive change history. Superconscious, do you see the resistance in definitions, broken agreements, secondary intentions, family history, and past lives? Please tag and treat and do a massive change history. Superconscious, do you see the resistance in limiting beliefs? Any beliefs that are not in alignment with having an excellent relationship with money, choosing to receive infinite abundance? Please tag and treat and do a massive change history. Superconscious, do you see the resistance in part personalities? Any part of us creating, holding on to, or manufacturing any level of resistance? Please tag and treat and do a massive change history. Superconscious, do you see the resistance in events, the original event, any past, present, and future events across timelines, planes, and dimensions? Tag and treat and do a massive change history. Superconscious, do you see the resistance in emotion, past, present, and future emotion, whether they're ours in origin or are handed down to us? Any emotions that are not in alignment with this choice? Tag and treat and do a massive change history. Superconscious, do you see the resistance in memories, judgments, thoughts, mental patterns, negative feedback loops, the stories that we tell ourselves, decisions and choices we made, and the judgments we have on them? Any mental conditioning that's not in alignment with this choice? Tag and treat and do a massive change history. Superconscious, do you see the resistance in our body's energetic systems, chakras, meridians, auric field, central channel, radiant circuits, any of our body's physiological systems, organs, muscles, bones, cells, DNA, any traumas, emotions, or dis-ease trapped in our tissues, creating, holding on to, or manufacturing any level of resistance, tag and treat, and do a massive change history. We're going to let the superconscious do its work. And just imagine we're going to float up above chair number 3, floating up to the roof of the building we're sitting in, bringing all of the attention, the awareness, everything we've learned from the superconscious, bringing it back down as we float back down into chair number 1, into our original self, and just be in chair number 1 with the added perspectives, the awareness, everything you gained from circling through the other positions, chair number 2 and chair number 3. And just anchor these learnings. Notice how it feels. Notice what your energy and attitude is towards money now. Notice anything you've observed or witnessed that would support you in having a better relationship with money. Just be in this energy. We finish this process. Superconscious, I want you to identify, tag, and treat any remaining resistance we have so we can have the most joy and satisfaction and happiness in life, living in alignment with having an excellent relationship with money and receiving infinite abundance. And any resistance we have to any level of those statements, superconscious, can you recode any opinions, preferences, ways of being, habits that are no longer serving us, tag and treat, and do a massive change history. Any remaining resistance we have that's preventing us from living in alignment with abundance, please tag and treat and do a massive change history. And superconscious, please ground all the memories we have touched today, especially memories 1, 2, and 3. Reconnect them to the matrix of the universe, connecting heaven and earth through our bodies. Whenever you're ready, just take a deep breath and notice, what is your current level of resistance on a scale of 0 to 10? How much resistance do you feel against the statement, I choose to receive more abundance? I choose to be abundant. Just notice it's the first number that pops in your head, 0 to 10. And since there's a lot of stuff in the chat, whenever you hear that number, pop it in the chat. But if you want to pop in your original number and your new number, I just love to see how it's shifted. 4 to an 8, 5 to a 1, 7 to a 2, 1 to a 1. Awesome. So just notice 5 to a 1, fabulous. 3 to a 1. So just notice that you had a shift, and typically, and sometimes people get confused in the numbering system, typically the number goes down to be like, oh yeah, I have less resistance. I'm feeling more aligned with that. But just notice, do you feel more connected to, yes, 8 to a 4, love it. And 3 to a 1, do you feel more in alignment with the statement, I choose to receive more abundance? That is the whole point. And whether you consciously perceive it or not right now, we have rewired your brain for more abundance. That is truly what this does. And these are the fun kind of processes I do each and every Wednesday in the Empowered Living membership, which I'll tell you about in just a minute. But I love doing this with people because you literally just upgraded your relationship with money. And I promise you, I've done this workshop and I've done this process enough. I promise you that you will receive more abundance in the next day, week, month, year. I've had people tell me that they found money on the sidewalk. I did this process and I received a $10,000 check out of nowhere. Like, it is crazy what I've heard over years. And it's not just me, it's many other people. So just watch where you can receive more abundance. But going back to our step number 4 is about taking action. That's how you start to manifest. So what's an obvious action step you can take right now that's going to improve your relationship with money or allow you to receive more money? So just write down, what's an obvious action step you can take? And as amazing as it is, information and all these processes are great. You have permanently upgraded your belief system around money, but the reality check is, as soon as we log off of here in 13, 15 minutes, whatever, Your life just goes back to the status quo in how you were being. You just go back to repeating your old patterns and habits, and we're just conditioned to go back to our old environment and go back to our old way of being. So even though you upgraded your relationship with money, and you will notice a difference, I promise, you're still going to go back to some of your old habits and behaviors. It's because it's easy to get busy and distracted and forget that you even did this. You'll forget the 4 steps of how to manifest. That you'll forget this training ever happened. You get stuck in old patterns or habits or behaviors or ways of being, and you can simply just stop taking action on what you want. Because without support, without consistent practice and accountability, it's easy to just go back to the way things were. So I'd love to offer you an opportunity of how you can be supported in continuing to practice all of these amazing habits and continuing to rewire your brain for more happiness and success, staying in the habit of manifesting. Because there's a big difference between information and embodiment. Information is just learning something. And again, you're already manifesting. Well, you're already a manifesting machine. We talked about that earlier, but you're sometimes manifesting aligned things you want and sometimes manifesting your wildest, worst nightmares. So you're in a place of, I want abundance. That's where you start when you just have the information. I want abundance. But the more you practice manifestation and you practicing it regularly through the 4 steps, you get to the place where you are in a place of, I have abundance. But if you really want to embody things and become a true manifesting machine for your dreams, embodiment is how you get there. And you move from I want abundance to I have abundance to I am abundance itself. When you are embodying the energy and emotion of abundance, things flow to you effortlessly. And that's what I do when I work with my clients, is to teach them the mastery of manifestation. How do they hold the energy of abundance when you only have $5 in your pocket? That is the mastery of manifestation. And that's when you're a manifesting machine for your wildest dreams. So cultivating embodiment, there's 6 things you need to start really embodying manifestation. And again, these are very much mapped on the steps of manifesting. Clarity in what you really want, practice manifesting, getting into the emotion of it, accountability around visualization every day and consistently taking action steps, support when you get stuck or feel discouraged. And I think neuroscience, I'm a big fan, as a neuroscientist, I'm a big fan of using neuroscience to get you where you want farther, faster, funner. It's much easier when you use neuroscience, and it helps you embody any energy that you want to embody. And then community. And a lot of us talked about how connection was so important. For me, when I think about it, community is one of the most important things in my life, because connection is the most important thing in my life. So these are the 6 steps that you need to embody manifestation. And so I'm going to take just a couple minutes with you, sharing with you how I can support you in embodying being a manifesting machine. I have a manifesting machine community called the Empowered Living Membership. And I would love to support you in cultivating your dreams. So let me give you just a really quick tour of what it's like to be in this membership. Some of the benefits are, I help you get crystal clear in your vision. And what does that look like in your life is faster, clearer decision making. No more analysis paralysis or indecision. You could just, because you know what you want, it's so much easier to make choices that are in alignment with that, because you know the destination you're going to. We master effective visualization. As I mentioned, you don't need to be able to play a movie in your mind to visualize. There's so many different ways to do this, but when you can get in the energy and the emotions of visualizing what you really want, you become a magnet for what you desire. Whatever you're visualizing starts coming to you, even if it's in the tiniest little ways, which means you're effortlessly attracting the people, resources, opportunities, ideas, situations that are going to support you in achieving whatever it is your vision is. And of course, accountability to help you stay focused, because life gets busy and it's easy for us to get distracted and pulled off course. So when we have accountability and support, we are able to stay focused regardless of what's going on around us. Some other benefits of the Empowered Living membership is neuroscience processes to easily release the roadblocks that shift your perception and align you with what you want. The neuroscience processes I use in the membership are just like what we did earlier today. And you literally shift from stuck to flow, from resistance and fear, self doubt, procrastination, unworthiness to actively taking action and receiving what it is that you want. And you get support in your action taking. So you're surrounded by a community of like-minded manifesting machines. And what's so cool about that is the mastermind effect is such a powerful thing. I just had a retreat called the Manifestation Mastery Retreat that I hosted, and it was incredible, the mastermind effect. Napoleon Hill said this in Think and Grow Rich. Anywhere where two or more people gather, there are three or more energies. Energy of person one, energy of person two, and then the third energy is the energy they create together with their combined energies. They open up this it's called the mastermind effect, but this energy creates a portal. And it's a portal that makes it easier to manifest your dreams. And I can tell you for absolute certainty, the more people that are in my membership and are showing up to calls, the easier everyone is manifesting, because we are all in this energy of manifesting together. And the more people are in a space of, let's say, love, they're radiating a bigger and bigger field of love, which is why when they do the International Meditation on World Peace Day, I always meditate for world peace, because every single person in the world that's meditating for world peace is increasing the frequency. Ooh, whole body goosebumps there. Increasing the frequency of world peace. So that's the mastermind effect when we're all focused, even if they're focused on different things. Some people want relationships. Some people want to grow their business. Some people just want to have an amazing personal life with work-life balance. It doesn't matter, or travel or whatever. It doesn't matter what you want, but just masterminding and manifesting with other people is really supportive in getting you there. And the final ELM benefits is you have on-demand learning and support. So not only do I show up 10 to 13 hours a week, you have access to me quite a bit, but there's also a library of 450, maybe even 500 hours of recordings now. Because I've been doing this membership multiple times a week for many, many years, which means you have experiential training to rewire your brain, kind of like what I took you through with the perceptual shift. And you have on demand, you can watch those trainings anytime you need them. There's a whole library, and I teach you how to access them. And I guarantee if you're going through something, I have probably talked about it in the last couple of years. And so you get support. I'm there to help you every step of the way. Anytime you get stuck or you forget like the steps of manifesting, or you're getting frustrated, or you're not manifesting what you desire, I am there to help support you in making steps forward. And how can you pivot? How can you adjust? And so the real benefit of joining the Empowered Living membership is you get to be a manifesting machine. You get to consciously create your wildest dreams and your desires and attract what you actually want. So I want to share with you really quickly a couple amazing success stories of people who have taken the Empowered Living membership and just created things outside of their wildest dreams. So Sabrina is in the Empowered Living membership. She's a professional photographer. When she first joined the membership, it was her first month of being a full-time entrepreneur. She had no guaranteed income and had no idea how. She had just left a part-time job and had no idea how she was going to consistently make income as an entrepreneur. And she was really worried. She actually started working with me as a private client too, but she was like, how on earth am I going to pay $550 a month? By the way, Empowered Living membership is a fraction of that cost. But she was like, how am I ever going to pay $550 every month? Within the first 6 months, she had consistent $10,000 months. Within 10 months, she had hit her first $20,000 month and shows no signs of slowing down. So these are some of the successes of when you are in the energy of manifesting in community, you can create beyond your wildest dreams. Some of the features of ELM is I do weekly training calls to master your mindset. If I were to put it's a 6-month membership. So if I were to put a value on that, let's say over 6 months, these weekly calls is the value of $625. You get accountability and planning calls every week, every month, and every quarter. We do these calls. So just over 6 months, putting a value on that is about $825. You get 2.5 hours of private coaching time with me, which the actual value that I would charge for that is $497. You get a library of previous trainings. Like I said, it's well over 450 hours at this point, and the value of that is like $1,053. You get a community of manifesting machines, which is truly, truly priceless. So altogether, this is about a $3,000 value. And I want to share just Kirsten's success story. She was living in Florida, wanting to be in Colorado. The very first time she logged on to an ELM call and the Empowered Living membership, she visualized her dream home through a series of events. Her housing situation changed in Florida. She moved back to Colorado. And 18 months later, she actually moved into the exact home she had visualized 18 months earlier. So, like I mentioned, it's a 6 month membership. The value you get each month is about $897 for the 10 to 13 hours you get with me, but that is not what you pay. On May 19th, I extended this. So the price is going up to $297 actually in 2 weeks, but you're not going to pay that. If you want to get started today, it's just $222. And I'll share Sammy's success story and my fast action bonuses before we come home, and I'm happy to open up for questions. So Sammy is another success story. She owns a property management company in Minneapolis. Within 3 months of being in the Empowered Living membership, she doubled the revenue of her already successful business. Within 9 months, so 6 months later, she doubled again. So she has quadrupled her revenue in less than 9 months, and her business was already successful. And she has actually had to hire a brand new staff to keep up with her amazing success. So if you're interested in manifesting your wildest dreams and becoming abundance, I would encourage you to sign up. There you can scan the QR code, or you can actually go to this link I just popped in the chat. If it feels aligned, I highly recommend joining now because the price is going up to $297 on the 15th. So if you book a call today, you basically book a seat in the membership. And then the next step is we'll jump on a 20-minute call just to make sure it's a good fit. And so if it's not a good fit, I'm happy to refund your money. I want it to be a win-win situation. But if you sign up today, you can sign up at this lower price and we'll get your onboarding call done in the next couple weeks. And there's very limited spots available. I can only accept 3 people at this rate. So I encourage you to sign up now. And because the universe rewards quick action, there's actually a principle where the universe loves speed. The quicker you can go from the idea to the implementation, the more success you have in implementing this thing. And your dreams are waiting for you. So let's get you there faster and easier. So some fast action bonuses if you join ELM. And again, sign up at the link or the QR code that you see. I will be happy to bonus you a Create Your Vision workshop, which comes with an additional private 30-minute coaching with me. So that's $257, 1 hour extra coaching call, that's $197, and a free copy of my workbook, which was $27. So I'll ship that to you. And the fast action bonus, the value is $481. So I appreciate each and every one of you for being here today. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording, and please let me know if you have any questions.